By the way, I want to say hello to some of our fans in the Philippines. We'll be getting a lot of reaction from the Philippines in the last. I don't know why.
We love you very much, no matter where you are, especially Philippines.
Especially Philippines. No, okay. So get back to people do stupid things all the time. What was it? George Carlin's take on on why women are crazy. Women are crazy because men are stupid. You know?
Fair enough. I mean,
I love that line. It's a great line. It's true.
I mean,
it's true.
Look, admittedly, the economics department at my school at George Mason University is very, very right of center. Very Austrian school, free market.
Oh, Austrian school?
Hmm. Free market, yeah, very free market, all that. Mm-hmm. And so, what amazes me is they talk about mercantilism and just price theory and all these different failed economic ideas that have been going around for hundreds of years during the Middle Ages and before that. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there in class going, we whine about socialism now, but these terrible ideas were there for hundreds of years. So, I mean, maybe we'll have to deal with socialism for hundreds of years as well. I don't know. But it boggles my mind. Why don't people, when it comes to solutions like economics, why did they revert to emotional? It always seems like every single reason for government involvement in economics, there's an emotional reason rather than a scientific.
Well, we as you well know, Alex, you know the answer to this question. We live in an epoch where emotions trump. I hate to use that expression. Emotions trump reasoning. We no longer live in a reasonable, logical, evidence-based universe.
It's not like we used to, as I explained.
No, we did used to. I'm very sorry. We did used to do that. We absolutely did. Western civilization, your Western civilization course is a testimony to that, right?
Fine. Okay. There were pockets of it, and even in those pockets, they still did some pretty stupid things.
I know, but I'm saying now all of the reasonable stuff is gone. It's just wiped away, and they're using climate change as a reason to advocate socialism. Look at that. We did a podcast recently about that girl Greta, whatever her name is, and she's using socialism as a goal of climate change. And what would you expect? I think the reason is because, as she points out, people respond to climate change and socialism emotionally. They don't respond rationally. If they responded rationally, they wouldn't believe stupid things.
So it sounds like, in a kind of cynical way, the only way for good ideas to work is if you emotionally manipulate people. If you want them, so I mean, there's the logical arguments, but you kind of have to put that on the shelf.
I want to remind you, young man, when you were a journalist, a big-time journalist in Washington, D.C., before you went back to university, you learned how to tickle people's balls with your articles to get them to read what you wanted them to think. Don't tell me you don't remember those days.
I do, but I don't remember the tickling of the balls thing. Maybe that's something you fantasize. But getting back on point, back on point.
All right.
It's your expression. Expressions usually stand for something. I don't want to get into what it is exactly.
No one, but I mean, no, but simply, you know the technique of using rhetoric to warm people up, to attract them to an idea.
Sure,
you understand
absolutely.
that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's so disingenuous because I think that it's just because as a person who has full cards on the table, I have emotionally manipulated people, and very few people have not. Because for whatever reason, it just isn't moral. It just isn't moral. It doesn't seem more. Even if if it is for a moral cause, but do the ends justify the means? Emotionally.
Well, now you're quoting Ashton Bertie, when she says that lying for sex is rape.
Ashton Twitty.
Ashton Twitty. Oh, Ashton Bertie. She's actually Bertie Twitty. She's known by Bertie as well. I just saw her post on Twitter about that, by the way.
Yeah. See, this concerns me that you follow young girls like that.
Lying to get sex is rape, right? Which is exactly what you were just saying, is that manipulating people emotionally to get what you want is immoral.
Even if it's good.
Even if the end result is good?
Yes.
Well, that's a presumption on your part, because good is arguable. Good is arguable. It's a value term.
Well, I mean, let's say economic prosperity is the value. I mean,
okay.
I understand that I'm making a lot of assumptions, but for the sake of argument, let's say economic prosperity is the end. Is it okay to emotionally manipulate people in order to get to that end?
Mhm. Well,
Because the opponents of economic prosperity, i.e., socialism, will most certainly use emotional manipulation.
right. Well, these days they're not using economic prosperity. In fact, they're arguing against prosperity because prosperity bell rings what? Capitalism. What they're arguing, socialism, is for survival of the human species and the planet. Okay, that's as far as their theology is going. Right?
Well, you didn't answer my question though. As far as
What?
it being an advocate for economic prosperity, is it okay to emotionally manipulate people into that goal, into
It's
that
never
end?
it's never morally okay to manipulate people for designs for purposes. You have to treat people as subjects, not as objects.
Hmm.
That's the basis of my morality. I don't want to manipulate
So
you
you
into.
you've never emotionally manipulated people with your understanding of
Oh, I
economics?
have all the time. Yeah, I don't say it was moral for me to do it. I'm not a perfect being, you know. In case that comes as some news to you, Alex. You know.
Well, now we're dipping into territory of shouldn't we? Isn't it good to err on the side of perfection rather than imperfection? Just
Look,
saying.
when the so-called climate scientists at East Anglia University wrote emails to each other saying we have to scare the shit out of the whole population of the planet in order for them to accept our climate change position, okay? This is a perfect example of what you're talking about. Is it morally acceptable to lie on a massive scale?
Hey, I didn't say lie. I said emotionally manipulate, and there's a
Fine.
difference.
Well, okay, fine. Is it good to emotionally? Is it moral to emotionally manipulate for a good purpose, for a good cause? No, it's not. No,
Interesting.
no, it's not.
Well, I suppose one
Now,
error
if it endangers, if you have a situation where somebody's life is in danger, if a Nazi knocks on your door and says, "Do you have Jews in the cellar?" Is it okay for you to say, "No, I don't have any Jews in the cellar, and if you find any, let me pull the trigger"? Okay, that's emotional manipulation by somebody who's trying to protect the Jews. Okay, is that okay? Is that moral? Yeah. Why? Because there's a higher value than the stated goal.
Mhm. So I think that error on both our parts is that neither of us has defined emotional manipulation.
Oh, good. Okay, you do it. I say rhetoric. But
Sure, rhetoric could be a good one. I would say that it would be to implicate a person's psychological attitude towards something, not by using facts, but by using cute turn of word, by using rhetoric effectively, by manipulating feelings rather
well,
than.
by your definition, all politics is immoral.
Well, I didn't say emotional manipulation was immoral, but I do think that there is a Machiavellian, like people talk. I heard one of my fellow students say that all emotional intelligence is just Machiavellian politics.
Well, that's a very broad definition of politics. I might agree with it.
Not as a definition of politics, but as a.
No, but I'm saying it rests upon a very broad definition of politics. If
Sure.
that's true, if that's true.
Sure, yeah. But nevertheless, I think that emotional manipulation, like when we say abuse, that could go very, very far. That can go for sexual abuse, and it can go all the way to you talking to me. That's abuse.
We emotionally manipulate each other all the time. Husbands do it to wives, parents do it to children, children do it to teachers, they do it to parents. I mean, this is part of human nature. We want to manipulate other people to get them to do what we want them to do.
Well, so is lying. I mean, there's so many evil things.
It doesn't
with
have to
human
be
nature.
immoral, however, okay?
Oh.
If I want somebody to make a chocolate chip cake for me, and I know that they like to receive a bouquet of roses, I go and buy the bouquet of roses and I get my chocolate chip cake. What's wrong with that? That's not immoral.
So if we go all the way around back to where we started, you have reversed your position. Now it is okay to emotionally manipulate people into policies that bring about economic prosperity.
I qualified it earlier. You weren't listening, as usual. If it doesn't harm another individual's integrity, personal
Integrity.
or their life, their life, their liberty, their pursuit of happiness, or their integrity. If it's only about chocolate chip cakes or sex, no, it's not a bad idea.
Well, now we've brought in the term integrity. That can mean a wide variety of things, my friend.
I know. We'll have to do a special podcast on that because we're out of time. We'll have to do that again. We never go past the 10-minute mark because we know that you won't send us any money if we go beyond 10 minutes.
Well, send us money, please.
Right.
And
bye-bye.
And see you.